I the a-hole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she uninvited my kids? My sister Emma and I have always had a complicated relationship, but I never thought she would stoop this low. When she got engaged to her fiancé Marcus last year, I was genuinely happy for her. Despite our differences, I wanted to support her on what should be the biggest day of her life. Emma has always been the golden child in our family. She's beautiful, charismatic, and has never had to work particularly hard for anything. Meanwhile, I've always been the responsible one, the one who helped take care of our aging parents and worked 3 jobs to put myself through nursing school. I have 3 kids, Lily, who's 8, Mason, who's 6, and baby Sophie, who just turned 2. They're good kids, but Emma has never been particularly fond of children, often making comments about preferring her life peaceful and organized. When Emma told me about her wedding plans, she mentioned it would be a sophisticated, elegant affair at an upscale venue. The save-the-date cards went out 6 months ago, and my whole family was included. The first red flag came when Emma announced her wedding would be adults only, no children under 16 allowed. I was surprised, but when I mentioned this to my mom, she looked confused and said Emma had told her my kids were still invited because they were immediate family. I asked Emma directly, and she confirmed my children were still welcome despite the adults-only policy. She said she was making an exception for her nieces and nephew because they were special to her. I was relieved and started making arrangements, including buying expensive outfits for all 3 kids and booking a hotel room for the weekend. 2 weeks ago, Emma called me with what she described as a tiny change to the wedding plans. She explained that Marcus's family had been asking questions about why some children were invited when others weren't, causing unnecessary drama. To keep things fair, she had decided all children needed to be excluded, including mine. I was stunned. Not only had she waited until the last minute, but she seemed to expect me to just accept it. When I pointed out that I had already made arrangements and purchased outfits, she offered to reimburse me for the clothes, but said the hotel room was my choice. I asked if she understood this meant I might not be able to attend, since finding a babysitter for an entire weekend, especially for a 2-year-old who still breastfeeds, would be nearly impossible. Emma's response was that I was being dramatic, and every other parent was figuring it out. I spent the next week desperately trying to find childcare options. My parents are too elderly to handle 3 young children for a full weekend. My in-laws live across the country. The few babysitters I trust were unavailable. The cost of hiring multiple sitters would have been over $800, which we couldn't afford on top of wedding expenses. When I explained this to Emma, she suggested I could pop in for the ceremony and skip the reception, or my husband could stay home while I attended alone. I told her that splitting up our family didn't feel right, especially when she had originally assured me my children were welcome. Emma's response shocked me. She said she had been having second thoughts about including my kids anyway, because Lily had been disruptive at our cousin's wedding last year, and she was worried about Sophie having a meltdown during the ceremony. She claimed she was actually relieved to have an excuse to uninvite them. I was furious. The disruption she referenced was Lily quietly asking me for a snack during cocktail hour, maybe 30 seconds. Sophie is an incredibly well-behaved toddler who rarely cries in public. It was clear Emma had been looking for reasons to exclude my children all along. I told Emma that if my kids weren't welcome, then neither was I. She immediately started backtracking, saying I was misunderstanding her, but the damage was done. She had made it clear that my children were seen as potential problems, rather than beloved family members. Emma tried to guilt me, saying I was choosing my kids over her, and that I would regret missing her wedding over something so trivial. She brought our parents into it, and they initially tried to convince me to attend without the kids. But when I explained exactly what Emma had said, my mom's tone changed completely. The situation escalated when Emma posted on social media about how disappointed she was that some family members were making her wedding about them. She didn't name me directly, but everyone knew. Several relatives reached out, and I learned Emma had been complaining to anyone who would listen about how I was being selfish and unreasonable. My husband fully supports my decision not to attend. He pointed out that Emma had shown her true feelings about our children, and attending would be endorsing her behavior. We've also spent over $1,200 on wedding-related expenses that we can't get refunded. Yesterday, Emma called me crying, saying she didn't want this conflict to ruin our relationship. She offered to make another exception for just my kids, but I told her it was too late. The fact that she was willing to exclude them in the first place showed me exactly how she views my family. Now my entire extended family is divided. Some think I'm being too harsh and should attend for family harmony. Others believe Emma crossed a line by uninviting my children after promising they could come. Emma has been texting me daily, alternating between apologizing and accusing me of trying to ruin her special day. She's even suggested I'm jealous of her wedding because I eloped. The latest message was from Marcus, asking me to reconsider because Emma has been an emotional wreck. But here's what nobody knows yet. What I discovered about Emma's real motivations changes everything, and what I'm planning to do next will shock the entire family. Full story, linked below.